thank you so much for coming on here and talking
Oh,
with me for my YouTube channel. So how have you been doing?
you know what? I've been doing a lot better, actually, like even
Good.
surprisingly well for the winter time, all
Uh-huh.
things considered. Like we're now getting a cold snap here in Edmonton. I'm like, I feel it. The cold's coming.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think Okervis has like truly been that little godsend that I needed, and it's really actually working for me. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's been super positive. And then like with that as well, it's like giving me the energy to like be consistent with
Mhm.
like the supplements, the exercise, the
Mhm.
proper diet, and all
That's
of that
really good.
combined. Yeah. How have you been?
I've been all right. Um, MS is a difficult thing. It's weird. It's like don't be stressed with MS, but MS causes stress. It's just like what, and then the mental health things that go along with it as well. Because it's just it can get to you like you make plans you have to cancel, you make this plan you have to cancel. That's one thing I really hate about it because I'll like make a plan, let's meet a friend for coffee. No, I can't go. I can't go to bed today.
Yeah.
So I find that's really annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I started a new medication as well, Kesimpta.
Which one?
Kesimpta.
Okay.
It's a monthly home injection.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's I know that it will not make me any better. It just will prevent, no, it'll prevent further symptoms,
Okay.
further disease progression. I
Okay.
think I'm at the point now, like, because I'm going on to 17 years with MS.
Right.
So there's not really um, a medication out there that's going to like make me feel any better. It's just going
Mm-hmm.
to keep it like status quo.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
really, that's all I can ask for.
No, it's totally true. I totally hear you with the mental health stuff
Yeah.
because I think bailing on my friends, or actually, no, it's bailing on my nieces and nephews. That's
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
kills me when I'm like expected at a birthday party, or I've said I'm going to show up to like a
Mhm.
play or an activity. And then I don't because of, it's usually fatigue. Like it's
Right.
generally just like that overwhelming fatigue and trying to also realize that if I burn myself out that day by pushing through, I'm going to pay for it for like 2 days. So
Yep.
yes, it's like a half an hour event, but I'm like on the breaking point. So yes, I look okay, but I'll be in bed for 2 days if I push myself that far.
Right.
But it's taken me like 8 years to figure this out. Like honestly, it's probably been in the last like 3 months
Mhm.
that I finally been like, oh, if I just actually hold back, then I
Yeah.
can push through. But with my personality, that breaks on my mental
Mhm.
health. Like
Yeah.
people don't even believe, like not being able to just like act out who you are. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have this idea of who you are in your mind and like what you're
Mhm.
going to accomplish. And then your body's like, I don't think so, Amanda. You're like,
Right.
hey, but this isn't who I am.
Yeah. Exactly.
People are always like, well, just rest, just sleep. And you're like, no, you don't understand.
It
Like,
doesn't do
then I'll
anything.
become an insomniac and like everything will
Yeah.
get even more messed up. So
Exactly.
it's hard to even manage like what does rest look like. And that's been
Right.
another thing I've been battling with. And I don't know if you find this, but I've really realized that like watching TV or scrolling through Instagram, it's not a rest. Like my brain is too activated
Okay.
still and
Yeah.
I'm like too engaged, or maybe it's
Mhm.
the lights, but it's like I've truly had to change to like reading, or well, I'm trying to knit, but it's not actually happening, but like actually different things that
Yeah.
I feel restful because I can't be too engaged, I find, or else
Right.
it's capable of doing activities of daily living. Like
Yeah.
now I feel capable of getting off the couch and actually walking to the kitchen and
Mhm.
prepping dinner still.
Right.
If not, I'm on the couch and
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, 2 cups for you. I'm like terrible. I'm like an 8 cup a day type
Okay.
of girl to like stay awake. But
Mhm.
then I'm really, like you were saying, cognizant of like 3 p.m. and it's like
Mhm.
no more caffeine. Like I
Yeah.
have to shut it down.
Yeah.
But I'm somebody too, by like 6 o'clock, like my day's done. There is no more chores. There is no
Mhm.
more going out. There is no more like interact, even like evening interactions with
Mhm.
friends. I like really limit because I'm
Mhm.
exhausted. I'm like half
Yeah.
asleep by 8:30 these days. And so I find that I've really lost that evening time
Yeah, I
actually.
agree. And I find that if I do have plans for an evening, I plan accordingly that like a few days before and don't do anything.
Yes. Or like I purposely have to have like a late day nap
Yeah.
that day
Yeah.
or things like that, right?
Exactly.
Isn't it? Oh my gosh. Like, how do we, it's so hard to think that with such an unpredictable disease that
Yeah.
we live with, that we have to live such rigid planning lives to plan for the
Mhm.
unexpected and the unknown. Like, no wonder we all struggle with mental health issues. Like, that just sounds insane to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you have this plan on Saturday, and you're like, okay, I have to rest like all day Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
And then you're like, someone asks you to do something on Friday, like, I can't. This is my resting day because I said I'm going to, and I need to go to this thing on Saturday. So it's
Yeah.
like, there's no real, you can't really have like spontaneity. You have to plan for
No.
it. You're like, oh, I'm going to plan and then spontaneously do this thing that I had planned. Like, so I find that is annoying.
Yeah. Or even like lack of spontaneity and also just the inability to like do things back to back. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, I can get to Pilates, but I know that I'm resting for like an hour after that. So
Yeah.
now, like, my blocks of activities are so much longer
Mhm.
all the time because I always have to plan in like that rest. And so then again, it takes away from that spontaneity. So it's like, no, I can't come out because exactly what you said. You're like, I actually like, no, I'm going to be exhausted and not be able to carry through. And for me too, it's not just like an exhaustion of like, oh, we'll have to sit the whole time. People don't understand. It's like a mental fatigue as
Mhm.
well. So it's like my words will not make sense.
Mhm.
Forming a conversation with you will be excruciating.
Mhm. Or trying to focus on a person who's talking to you when there's a whole bunch going on in the background. I'm like a goldfish. I'm like, I like can't like have my focus.
Yeah.
I find, or
Do
even
you?
if I am talking with someone, I feel really bad about it. And some of my friends can tell, like, I just kind of space out and they're like, well, I've lost you. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I'm
Yeah.
really trying here. I
Yeah.
still hear you. I just really look like I'm spaced out. So that's one thing I hate because it's like, well, you don't really care what I'm saying. I'm like, no, I do.
I do. I do. But I just like, I've kind of reached my max though,
Yeah.
right? Where you're like, we've been together for 2 hours. I should
Yeah.
have excused myself. Like, I can't
Right.
continue going. And it's interesting you mentioned the background noise. I find that I'm getting more sensitive to that competing
Mhm.
noises. Like, if people are trying to talk and there's loud music and there's like a video game going on at
Yeah.
the same time, like
Yeah.
it makes me so irritated. It's like nails down a chalkboard. So it's not that I can't focus, it's like my nervous system
Mhm.
is overloaded and like can't handle like all the stimulation. So I'll
Mhm.
be like the first person to be like turning down music, or like
Yeah,
I'm
same.
always that person who's having a conversation outside the party. I'm
Mhm.
like outside with the smokers all the time.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, right, like that one-on-one, because it's all just, it's like not trying to be I'm not trying to be antisocial. It's just, it's literally making my skin crawl.
Right.
And I think it truly is. Like, I used to think that, I don't know, I didn't know what it was, but now listening to other people's journeys on Instagram or different things where they
Mhm.
talk about that stuff, I was like, oh, it's like an MS thing. I'm not just rude.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. It's like you have to prep people like, so in an hour, although I'm in depth in this conversation, it's going to seem like I'm not paying attention. I am, but I just reached my max and I'm sorry. Whatever important story you're telling me, it is important to me, but I just look checked out, but I'm not. And
Yeah.
after we're done, I'm going to have to leave.
Right. I'm like, and I'm like such a like, I don't know what's that term again where you like just like ghost exit all the time. I'm like the first person to be like, okay, bye, I'm
Yeah.
out. Like, I'm totally tapped out. And
Yeah.
along with that, it just was making me think of like, not only do I have to like prep people for my exits or, like not be able to be engaged, but
Yeah.
it also like, we have a cabin and we had some friends come out with us for Super Bowl weekend and it was great, but they were couples that they're from out of town from us, and so we won't spend like day to day with them. And so I was like, listen, like, welcome to my routine. I
Yeah.
have to be up before you. I will be reading. Like, I need my alone time.
Mhm.
Here's my weird like cupboard of supplements and
Yeah.
potions that I drink. And oh,
Yeah.
by the way, I have to go for a walk and get this done. Like, it was so interesting to like prep them to
Yeah.
like my routine doesn't change.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, like, and oh no, sorry, I'm not a drinker anymore. Like, doesn't sit well. Like, it's just trying to like still engage and be part of everything, but like realizing at the same time, like I have to maintain my health or else I'm like not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make the weekend. I'll be like in bed the whole day or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.